Have you ever heard the age-old adage, believe half of what you see and none of what you hear? Well, the individual that came up with that, well, it was some pretty good advice because they clearly knew that you were gullible. Have I gotten your attention yet? Well, don't worry, it's not your fault. We're all a little bit gullible. And so we're wired neurologically to seek coherence. And what's coherence? Well, coherence is just stories that make sense. And then, interestingly enough, as long as it makes sense, we believe it to be true. And so, when you couple this with a short term attention span, you can see how we can become victim to, well, getting only part of the story because it serves somebody else's needs. And so, third party information, well, it's generally not that reliable because it hasn't happened to you. And historically, where were we getting our information? Well, we were getting it through observation, and specifically, we were observing nature. Now, what the research shows us today is that that technique of observing nature has some biological effects that are extremely beneficial to not only coherence, but our belief structure. So when we observe nature, what happens is that our heart rate lessens, our respiratory rate goes down, our blood pressure lessens, and then we promote hormones that provide us with a greater sense of feeling and understanding and belonging. So it makes it more difficult to not see things for how they are instead of how they're presented. So we find the truth. And so the other thing that happens is that when we observe nature, we begin to find out that the narrative that we've been taught about nature, the thing that we're part of and the thing that shows us how to be, has far less competition associated with it than what they'd make us believe. We actually find out that there's far more collaboration, there's far more compassion within nature. And so, what are you wasting time on? Turn off the TV, turn off the media, quit listening to me, get outside and begin observing. Do yourself some benefits to your health, and then at the same time, begin to understand who you are, what you belong to, what you're part of, and what you can become without anybody telling you how to go about it. Be well.